You mentioned fat, and again, a lot of people think if I eat fat, I'm going to get fat.
It's the reverse.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
It's the reverse. If you eat fat, you're going to lose weight. I mean, fat doesn't make you fat. It's sugar that makes you fat. And the relationship is this: if you don't burn those sugar calories with insulin, those calories are going to be stored as fat. It's that simple. The pre-Demed study, which was a study on the Mediterranean diet. In fact, I've been in communication with one of the main researchers because he was at the American College of Nutrition. I ran a panel on that. He really educated me a notch higher about olive oil. And then I did my own research on olive oil. And if you look at the pre-Demed study, the participants who were taking in 4 tablespoons of olive oil a day. Think about that, 4 tablespoons. That's like about almost 500 calories a day just in olive oil. Or if you were taking in a couple of handfuls of nuts, mixed nuts, which have monounsaturated fats and saturated fats, as opposed to people eating lower fat diets, there was less diabetes, there was less weight gain, there was less stroke, there was less heart attack. So it's pretty cool to see that data over a 5-year period. It makes sense. Fat will not make you fat. It's sugar that will make you fat. If you eat fat, particularly olive oil, you're going to actually thwart off diabetes and actually lose weight. I have some of my colleagues right now who are drinking olive oil, and they're telling me they're losing abdominal fat, and their complexions are better, and they're feeling better just with olive oil. But there's great research on olive oil. I mean, I am very bullish on olive oil. I've been bullish on it for ever since I became a cardiologist, but I am very, very bullish on it now.
Talk a little bit more about the fats, though, and what fats you're talking about. It's not. I mean, you're not talking about eating a marbly steak every day and things like that. There's good and bad fats to eat.
Yeah. Actually there's good fats, there's killer fats, and there's bad fats. I mean, the trans fats are out. I mean, everybody knows about the trans fats, but you have to be careful. I mean, remember when you're eating chips with canola oil, it might say 0 trans fats, but it could have less than half a gram. And if you eat 4 or 5 servings, then you're getting 2 or 3 grams of trans fat. So you got to be careful. But certainly the omega-6 oils you want to limit significantly. That's canola oil, corn oil, soybean oils, your cottonseed oils. Your good polyunsaturated oils would be your omega-3 oils. Your squid oils, your omega-3 oils. The omega-3s you can get from fish, from wild fish, certainly chia seed, flaxseed, fermented tofu. I mean, walnuts. Those are good omega-3s. So omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. Omega-6s, like I said before, are pro-inflammatory. Now, what about monounsaturated fats in olive oil or avocado? Totally neutral. No insulin response. Phenomenal anti-inflammatory. What about saturated fats? You mentioned marble meats. If you do range-fed meats, particularly bison, or if you do, range-fed poultries, you are going to get saturated fat, but I don't have a problem with saturated fat. The only problem I have with saturated fat is when they're non-organic, because remember, in fats, you're going to get the toxins, the insecticides, the pesticides, the radiation. So that's when you want to limit some saturated fat, but not because it's going to be turned to more cholesterol in the body. Remember, you take chocolate, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, I believe, has stearic acid in it. It's not going to change your cholesterol. Even can lower your triglycerides. It can even lower your blood pressure in dark chocolate. We know that dark chocolate, not in massive amounts, but in small amounts, is favorable to the cardiovascular system. So coconut oil, probably one of the best oils you can cook with. Has a high, dew point. You can cook with it. It's a saturated fat. And remember this about saturated fats: they are the most resistant to oxidation. Not like the polyunsaturated fats that you get, from your corn oils, canola oils, things like that. They are very susceptible to oxidation. So when it comes to fat, you got to pick and choose. And even on my website, I've taken a long time, my iHealthTube.com website, educating people about fats, because this is one area where people need a lot of education, because they can fall into the trap of thinking they're eating a healthy oil when they're not. They're eating a pro-inflammatory oil as opposed to an anti-inflammatory oil. So I've spent a long time in my career as a cardiologist dissecting the fats, and it's very, very important. And I'm glad you raised the question.